Do you fancy getting out and going in search of retro toy treasures and action figure gems? Well, we've got a bit of a journey ahead of us. Hello, hello Explorer, what a journey. I'm now on an industrial estate somewhere in Dudley, hoping to try and track down and unearth hidden chest gaming, which is tucked away in one of these corners. I was feeling pretty lazy this morning, so I didn't really want to get off the sofa, but I'm glad I did because it's a really nice, bright, sunny day. And right ahead of me is hidden chest. I've had a bit of a look at this online. Seems like a pretty cool store. I think there's going to be some good stuff here, so I'm quite excited to get in and check it out. So from the moment you approach the shop, it's decorated beautifully with the kind of street art style video game decoration outside. So it really sets you up for kind of what you're in store for. And the second you walk in, it is just loaded with stuff, but really neatly. It's stacked floor to ceiling, you see that a lot, but this is really nice. I can see where everything is. This first room seems to predominantly be video games, though there's a whole bunch of action figures, new nice on card behind the counter. And then there's a second room, which I think is more video games and I think action figures and hopefully all sorts of other bits and pieces. So we've got a whole lot to get through. So I'm not really much of a video game collector or player anymore, I just don't have the time for it. But I'm still excited to have a bit of a nostalgic thumb through the video game selection, just to see what's here. But I'm mainly here for the action figures, which I think is largely in the second room. And I'm mostly after budget-friendly, pocket-sized toys, or all those robot lines that I like. So there's a whole bunch on my shopping list today, but we'll have a proper look around here first, and then we'll move on to the second room. So room 2, this is the room that I'm particularly excited to see. Middle aisle is just loads of glass cabinets packed with all sorts of bits and pieces. You can see Masters of the Universe, Thundercats, real Ghostbusters. There's plenty we're going to have a good look at in here. All along to my left is, some of you younger viewers might not be familiar with these, but video games used to come on cassettes. My first computer was a Commodore 64 and probably got some of the games that I used to have. I'm actually quite excited to see these just because often the covers had really nice artwork on. And as a kid, you could pick up the games for about £2, which was probably quite a lot then, but you could even go get video games from Boots. I remember getting Empire Strikes Back from a Commodore, nice line art game, actually in 3D, although super basic. And then at the back here is loads more 8-bit cassette games, board games. I can see some Robo-Force play sets. So we're going to have a proper good look around here because I don't really know where to even look at the moment because there's so much to take in. So in amongst all the main action figures, there's all sorts of little bits and pieces. You've got a little Crackle here, which was from Snap, Crackle and Pop cereal. I don't know if I had him, but I definitely had one of them. Little Kinder Egg toys, and something that I started recently, a Muscleman collection. My Muscleman collection at the moment stands at 1, so I can't really go wrong with which one to pick up because I did forget my guidebook, but I can definitely see that they haven't got the single one that's part of my collection. Starcom isn't something I see too often when I'm out and about. I've never owned any Starcom toys, but if you got up early enough on a Saturday morning, the cartoon series was on Channel 4 between 6 and 7, and that's when Channel 4 generally had all their best children's programming. I remember the Starcom cartoon series being pretty good, but I have not seen it since the 80s, so I have no idea if it's aged well or not. You'll have to tell me. So the layout's really nice, everything's neatly stacked and laid out on shelves, the glass cabinets look really good, nice lighting, everything's really neat and tidy. And then just above all the cabinets, you've got all sorts of stuff. Like everywhere you look, there's all sorts of kind of cool bits and pieces to see, and a real mix of stuff. Like it's nice when it's all kind of jumbled together. It just makes it visually, I think, more exciting, more interesting to look at. Plus, even the ceiling's decorated. You've got a mix of Dandy, which I was never really that into, Beano, that was, I think, the second comic series that I collected. I started with Thundercats. Here and there I'd pick up Transformers, but Beano and Thundercats were my two main comics growing up, and a little bit of Zoids. Oh, and I think even a Ghostbusters up there, and a Pokemon card, why not? I encountered them first online, but it turned out I'd actually already visited their stand at the NEC BP fairs, and I recognise it because I've got these 3 RoboForce sets. I'm quite into RoboForce at the moment. I really love the style of the robots. They're kind of squat, they don't have feet, a little bit Dalek-like, and they've got that kind of 70s, late 70s, 80s blocky robot look that I really like. The prices on the playsets are really good, except I do not have any kind of storage space to take anything like that, so I'm purely after the robots. So I've got quite a mix of Transformers, Power Master Prime, only seem to have one of his shoulder weapons. No, they've got both his shoulder weapons there. No Haikyuu. He seems to be the hard guy to pick up. I really like this little squat Ratchet. I think he'd look really good on my random stuff shelf. And they've got a few Pretenders. I think that's the inner Pretender for Grimlock. I remember at the time, like, everyone hated the Pretenders, but I would absolutely love them to do some proper remakes where you've got an action figure on the outside and then the figure inside. And that landmine at the back. When we were at Sandown, me and Malcolm were chatting about him, and so many stands have him. Maybe a sign that I should pick him up. I'm mostly interested in some of these GoBots. I quite like the uniformity of the sizes. They're all relatively similar size, similar articulation, but quite simple transformations. My GoBot collection at the moment stands at 3 GoBots that are complete and 2 broken ones, because I'm really bad at remembering to check to make sure they transform properly and all their limbs are there. They've got a good mix in terms of the things that you'd expect to see, like a bit of Masters of the Universe, a bit of Transformers, Power Rangers, and then in amongst it there's all sorts of random little bits and pieces. I kind of like all those weird odds and sods, like seeing the Transformers pin badges, like off the birthday cards, Transformers cassettes. I randomly picked up some of those in immaculate condition. A charity shop about 10 years ago had got piles and piles of them, all still sealed. So I picked up a whole bunch of Transformers ones. So aside from video games and toys, there's a nice VHS section, which really seems to be making a comeback at the moment. If you saw my Entertainment World video, I was talking about how I like some of the artwork on particularly some of the 80s films, like the sci-fis and the horror films. Sometimes have really cool painted art as their cover. But the thing in this corner that has particularly caught my eye is there's a whole bunch of UK annuals, and I've got all of the Transformers ones apart from 92. That's the hardest one to get. Occasionally you see it go cheap for about 50 quid, but it doesn't look like we're going to be in luck with that one today. More often than not, it goes for coming up to about £100. There's a few listed on eBay for close to 100. There's not a chance I'm paying that. But also they've got a whole bunch of Marvel UK comics, so hopefully they'll have some of the Transformers ones I'm after. Pretty much picked up the first 100 bar a couple of issues I'm missing, which is enough to get me reading. So I'm mostly concentrating on 101 to 326 or 36. I can't remember how many there are. Well, that's not bad. 3 more collected, 203, 195 and 174. I was really hoping for issue 200, but they don't seem to have it. The search goes on. Hidden Chest is run by Dana and Ant, and it's been open for about 3 years now. And it's pretty straightforward to get here, so you should definitely come and visit. I think it looks like there's a bit of parking outside, but public transport wise, I've travelled from Birmingham City Centre, it took me 3 trains and a bus. Basically, you just need to get to Stourbridge Town and then jump on the number 6 bus, and it's only about a 15-minute bus ride. And then once you're off the bus, it's just in the corner of the industrial park, so really easy to get here, and I highly recommend visiting. The store is open Thursdays to Sundays, 11 till 5. I'll put all the links below. So many things here beyond all the things you'd expect to see, like Thundercats and Transformers, Nintendo games. There's all sorts of odd curiosities, and it's so well laid out, packed, but everything's accessible and visible and nice and clean and tidy and well lit. I've really enjoyed looking around here, but also I've really enjoyed chatting to Dana and Ant. Super good host, really friendly, shared lots of stories of toy hunting and toy collecting. So it's worth it just for the trip here, just to see those guys. And then also the bonus, you get to hang out in a cool toy store. We still have some decisions to make, so let's start building a pile and do some purchasing. And that's it, back where we started. Really great day, made extra good just because Dana, such a top guy, really enjoyed chatting to him. Got all my purchases in, really great price, super good deals. Across the board, I'd say all the prices are really good in there. Got those Transformer comics, little bonus Transformer book, got the Ratchet, couple of Muscle Men, and the GoBot came with the card back. So I can even tick them off as I collect them. So really happy with visiting Hidden Chest. You should definitely come here. And bonus little exclusive, they do the toy fairs, they do their own gaming convention, and they're looking at maybe running their own toy fair in the future. Another Geek Explorers exclusive. And if you've enjoyed this, click left to see my last outing, which was ChillCon, or click right in a couple of weeks when I think I'll probably be doing some more toy hunting, because I'm really enjoying these videos at the moment. So see you soon, Explorer. Have a great day.